Thanks, Martin. Wonderful to be back here. As Martin mentioned, Martin and I had been partners in initiating work on adaptation in the World Bank, 10, 12 years ago. But one of the things that struck me as over the past few days I've wandered in and out of meetings on adaptation is that the questions that are being asked remain the same as they were 10 or 12 years ago. So has nothing changed? Well, what has changed is that there's been a huge amount of experience that has occurred as people have pioneered new initiatives, innovative ideas on how to identify what are vulnerable situations, what are the kinds of initiatives that work. What I'm going to say is necessarily very tentative. It also does not reflect what the Green Climate Fund would like to say or believes, because that hasn't occurred as yet. Now, I want to leave you with three central messages. The first message is that it is extremely urgent, and Martin, this is work that we began a long time ago, in figuring out what are the areas, the sectors where climate impact is going to have an adverse impact on people. These could be the infrastructure sectors, water, ports, agriculture, etc. It is also livelihoods. Now, in all of these areas, there is a range of programs that are going on in developing countries. And therefore, we need to figure out when is change needed because of the adverse impacts of climate change. There are a range of tools coming out, and that's what Martin had started many years ago. These tools are now being institutionalized. We still don't know how good they are, but it's a beginning. So the first thing is we need to be able to identify the areas where climate would make a difference, and that how we design projects would not work in the future, whether these are infrastructure projects or livelihood projects. That's the first message. The second is that if we are clear that in a particular situation, business as usual would not work, then what will work? Obviously, we will need to design differently. Now, there is such a huge array of sectors, applications, communities where things have to be designed differently that it's impossible to have one answer for all. So, how will we design a hydro system or a dam system differently? How would we design a program for the livelihoods of non-agricultural rural workers differently? Again, the huge number of pilots that have occurred provide us a great degree of knowledge. Again, it's not perfect, but we need to start documenting it. Every government has got some kinds of standards, some kinds of directives on how programs are designed. These changed methodologies have to enter those. How we do it is going to be a challenge. I mean, for example, how do we let thousands of engineers across the world know they have to design a hydrological system differently? How do we let a huge number of agricultural extension workers across the world know that the seed and agricultural practices have to be different? It's a challenge. I mean, we need to find out the channels through which these can occur. So that's the second message. The last message is that if these kinds of changes are to occur, then how would public policy, regulation, and finance need to be changed? In all of these things that we are talking about, money is flowing. Okay? But if we need to do things differently, will money still flow? That's where international finance is required. You need to have financial resources in order to make the change happen. The first pilot, the second pilot may need to be supported. Capacity needs to be built. And therefore, public investment, whether domestic or international, regulations, and the change finance become important. So I'll leave you with these three thoughts that I am grappling with these days on how do we move ahead as we look at integrating adaptation into the lives of people and in the development processes of developing countries. Thank you, Martin.
Brilliant.